Alright, in this scene we're looking at Regeneration, Invincibility frames, and Combat State. These are optional handler components that sit around the health system. The health system still owns the actual health value. These handlers just add extra behaviour around that core system. Before we press play, let's quickly look at the enemy setup. The enemy has the core health system, plus 3 optional handler components. Combat state tracks whether the target is currently considered in combat. The Regeneration handler controls delayed healing after damage. And the Invincibility handler provides temporary iframes. These are separate components. That means the health system does not need all of this behaviour baked directly into it. The health debug panels also pick up what's available in the scene. So when these handlers are present, the panel exposes the matching controls and state. Alright, let's run it. On the setup tab, we can see the target binding, the optional attacker, and which handler components were found. We also have a basic health bar and a set of quick actions for testing. Damage sends a real damage context through the health system. Heal calls the normal healing path. And kill and revive let us test life cycle transitions quickly. So this tab is basically the control surface for the target. Now let's move to iframes. Iframes are handled by the health invincibility handler. When invincibility is active, incoming damage attempts are blocked. So I'll activate it here. Now the target is temporarily invincible. If I try to damage the target during that window, the health system rejects the hit. The important thing is that this is not fake panel logic. The damage attempt is still going through the health system, but the invincibility handler is causing that attempt to be rejected. The handler also exposes start and end events. This panel maps those events to simple feedback messages, but in your own project, that could drive HUD feedback, flashing effects, or audio cues. Now let's look at Regeneration. The Regeneration handler controls delayed healing after damage. There are a few moving parts here, so we'll take it slowly. The delay is how long the target waits after taking damage before Regen can start. The amount is how much healing gets applied. The interval is how often that healing happens in tick mode. And smooth mode changes that into a smoother per second style of regen. Now I'll apply some damage. The Regen cooldown starts. While that cooldown is running, Regen is waiting. Once the delay finishes, Regen becomes active. Then health starts coming back. The bar here shows that state clearly. It tells us whether we're waiting on cooldown or actively regenerating. Now, the optional Regen ceiling is a bit more advanced. A ceiling means Regen does not have to heal all the way back to full. We can cap Regen as a percent of max health. We can cap it as a percent above the health value when Regen activates. Or we can cap it at a fixed absolute HP value. So for example, passive Regen might only restore the player back to 70%, or it might only recover part of the damage they just took. That gives you more control than simple always heal back to full regeneration. Now let's move to combat state. Combat state tracks whether the target is currently considered in combat. When the target is marked in combat, a timer starts counting down. If the timer reaches 0, the target becomes out of combat again. We can also force exit immediately, which clears the combat state right away. This is useful for regen gating, AI behaviour, music, UI indicators, or combat only effects. So the important point is separation. Iframes decide whether damage is temporarily blocked. Regen decides when health is allowed to recover. Combat state tracks whether the target is considered engaged. Then the health system stays as the central place where health is actually read and mutated. That's the key takeaway from this scene. These behaviours work together, but they are not all crammed into the core health system. They stay modular, optional, and easy to reason about.